Good morning. Each year, we have the biggest attendance in church on Christmas and Easter Sunday and Mother's Day. This year is a bit different. I wish you peace and happiness wherever you are this day. My mother would have celebrated her 86th birthday last week. And I think this would have been a difficult time for her. I'm not sure how well she would be faring having been told to stay home, especially from church. She was the mother of an only child, and an only child herself, and had been widowed since she was 32 years old. And the church really became her family. She was the first one to arrive every Sunday and the last one to leave. And not just because she was the church organist. I think she experienced FOMO, fear of missing out, before it was a thing. She wanted to check in early. She wanted to see what was going on. She became an unofficial greeter, talking to just about everyone as they came into church. And on any given Sunday, from her perch on the organ bench in the front of the sanctuary, she could tell you who was and who wasn't in church that day. Oh, she would protest. Oh, people always say that I'm taking attendance from up there on the organ bench, but I'm not. And then she'd say afterwards, I wonder where so-and-so were today. They weren't in church. Though church was central to my mother's life, I didn't know her to be one who was outspoken in talking about God or her relationship with Jesus. She participated in many Bible studies and book groups and small groups and was active in the United Methodist Women for years. But for her, I believe it was the relationships that the church made possible, what we might call the ecclesia, the beloved community that was life-giving and life-sustaining for her. And the praise that she offered was her willingness to share her God-given gift, which was music. My mother's best instrument was probably her voice, as she participated in elite choirs as a youth and in high school and beyond. She startled the congregation at my father's memorial service because in the midst of her deep grief, she sang the hymns as robustly and as beautifully as she always did, as if it were a typical Sunday morning. But over the years, piano became her prime instrument. And I was amazed that you could put any piece of music in front of her, even if there was more black ink than white on the page for all of the notes, and she could sight read it. That is a gift that she did not pass along to her offspring. But what I remember most was not just her ability at the keyboard, but it was this gift that she shared with the church, God's church, for 32 years. From the first Sunday she was hired, when I was 10 years old, and for the next 32 years, she never missed an unexpected Sunday except for a couple of vacation Sundays until the month she died. So it's been 18 years now since she's been gone. What did she teach me? Actually, she taught me something that I also heard in a movie that she never would have watched because it was a baseball movie. When Roy Hobbs, the young promising baseball star, heard his father tell him as a youth, "You've got a gift, Roy, but it's not enough. You've got to develop yourself. If you rely too much on your own gift, then you'll fail." My mother didn't teach me that in words, but in her life. She also taught me the joy of what it was like to dedicate your God-given talent to serve, because I saw the joy that brought her, and I saw the angst of her approaching retirement at what it would have been like to give that up. I'm reminded that a day such as today, Mother's Day, is not a one-size-fits-all holiday. Some are blessed with the joy of a full house even on this unusual Mother's Day, but I know it can be a day full of other emotions, especially this year. Longing to be with people you love, some who are grateful and exhausted all at the same time. This day can be a reminder of unfilled yearnings or loss, or maybe the realization that yours was not a hallmark perfect relationship. One of the things I love about the Bible is that it doesn't tell about perfect lives, accepting the life of Jesus, but it tells about imperfect lives redeemed in the love of Jesus. I invite you to think with me today about the things that your mother taught you, not because she was perfect, but because her life was a story. And the Bible shows us that we always learn from stories. There was Sarah, the mother who waited and lamented before her dreams were fulfilled. Hagar, who endured though she was voiceless and without class status. Rebecca, who took risks for what she believed was true. Leah and Rachel, who would make your sibling rivalries fade by comparison. And so many others in the Bible, Hannah and Elizabeth, and of course Mary, the mother of Jesus. And one I've thought about often is Naomi, whose story is told in the book of Ruth. Naomi and her family fled their land because of famine and went to the foreign country of Moab, and there her husband died, and her 2 sons married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. And after another 10 years, Naomi's sons died, and Naomi then heard that the Lord had blessed the land of her people with food again. And so she told her daughters-in-law that they could return home to find new husbands and enjoy the prosperity and abundance of the land. And although they both wept at her leaving, one refused to leave Naomi's side. Orpah returned to her people. But Ruth said, and quoting now from the book of Ruth, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth learned from Naomi faith, even in a time of bitterness. I invite you to read the book of Ruth. It's only 4 chapters long. If you started now, you could be done by dinner time. Wherever you are this Mother's Day, in your present circumstances, in your memories, in your hopes for the future, don't tally how perfect or imperfect your mother was, but remember what your mother taught you by the story of her life. I'd like to invite you into a prayer, a Mother's Day prayer in a time of pandemic. Would you join me in prayer? This Mother's Day is different, God. So many cannot visit their beloved mothers or grandmothers or the women who have been like mothers. People feel lonely because their hands are not held, their arms cannot hug. Other families have had too much togetherness, and the past weeks have been tumultuous with tantrums and fights and frayed tempers and too many words said too quickly. Oh God, you are the one who hears our lament about what is and what we regret. Others are missing mothers or children who have died. The recently bereaved may not have been able to say in-person goodbyes. They have not been able to have funerals. You are the one who comforts us when we are aching and bereft. Thank you for new babies born in a pandemic, for mothers who carried them to term, birthed them, and for doctors and midwives and nurses who assisted. Thank you for all the mothers who are cooking or cleaning or caregiving or working or homeschooling children who are missing their friends and activities. Hear our prayer for mothers whose patience is stretched to breaking, who are worried about finances, or who walk on eggshells around a partner. Hear our prayer for children with jagged memories of being hurt or neglected. But giver of life, we pray to you this day to fill each of us with love, to open our ears to hear each other's stories so that we may be a community of hope, nurturing each and every person with tenderness and compassion, each one a treasured member of the family of God. Lord, in your mercy, hear these prayers and the unspoken prayers of this day. Amen. It is a joy to be with you. I have to imagine looking out upon your faces, which I can not see, but as you see mine, know that the prayers of your church are with you. Thank you for praying for each other and for the church. Thank you for caring for one another. Thank you for your continuing financial support of the Milton United Methodist Church as our work goes on. And on this day, another new day that the Lord has given us, I pray that you will be blessed with joy and happiness and health. And until we meet again, dear friends, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God. Amen.